Well, good morning, YouTube. Arizona RE here. Putting around on my 2002 Royal Enfield Bullet 500. Early on a Saturday morning. Town is quiet. Most of the roads are kind of quiet. So doing good. I knew I was going to catch up to this van. Anyway, one of the things that I came out with this topic on my mind just because it's been happening so much lately. A lot of riders have gone down, and you know, not everybody's a motovlogger, but let's put it this way: it's May, and as of mid-May, just in the Tucson area alone, there have been 12 either fatal or near fatal motorcycle wrecks. Just in the Tucson area. That doesn't count Phoenix and the other areas, Green Valley and down in Nogales and on over to Sierra Vista and whatnot. Just in the Tucson metropolitan area, there have been 12. Most of them fatalities. The others, you know, significant. I'm talking like paralysis or drinking out of a, you know, or eating out of a straw for the rest of their lives. Kind of injuries. And so I guess the question for this topic is, are you playing safe? And are you prepared? So this ain't going to be a big lecture about, you know, dressing for the slide and not the ride and all that. But it's really about, hey, here's a motorcycle. Someone else is out and about this morning. How's it going, buddy? Okay, so that guy was total squid. And if you're one of those people that, you know, that's fantastic, I guess, if that's where you want to be, not wearing a lid or gloves or any kind of protection really at all. People have their reasons for doing that, and you know what? I still pull for you, man. God forbid you should ever get into a crash. But these crashes here lately, it's been astounding, because I think when most people who don't ride motorcycles, I think when they think of motorcycle crashes, that they almost always think it's the motorcyclist's fault. They really do. Oh, he was riding too fast. Oh, he was zipping in and out of traffic. That's like the first thing that gets said. Oh, that rider was zipping in and out of traffic. Or he was riding too fast for that street. Now, there are those mistakes. There's no doubt about it. There are those mistakes. You do have guys, and you know, we all speed, let's face it. But you do have those guys that ride really, really fast on public roads, and you know what? You're taking your life into your hands, because if you're riding that fast on public roads, and people are looking down the road expecting, you know, any vehicles they see, motorcycle or otherwise, to be going, say, 35 miles an hour, and you're going between 70 and 90, well, yeah, there's a good chance they're going to pull out on you, and there's not going to be enough time to clear that up. So yes, those types of accidents do happen. However, here recently, these last 12 motorcycle casualties, they said speed of the motorcycle rider was only a factor in 3 of them. Just in 3 of them. 3 out of the last 12 major motorcycle crashes in the Tucson area, only 3 of them had the rider of the motorcycle was in excess of the speed limit, of the posted speed limit for the area he was riding in. So for those of you that may be watching who don't ride motorcycles, I'm not sure why anybody would watch my vlogs who doesn't ride motorcycles, but for anyone that is, Hey, guess what? It's not always the motorcyclist's fault. In fact, 2/3 of these accidents, they just did this story on the news the other night. That's why I know these statistics. I'm not someone that crunches numbers. But they just did the news story the other night. 2/3 of the accidents, 2/3 of these crashes, most of them fatalities, were from people pulling out onto the roadway in front of the motorcycle. Directly in front of the motorcycle. Just pulling out in front of them, making a left-hand turn onto the roadway. Now, here in the United States, the left-hand turn, that's the dangerous one for us. I imagine if you're in the UK or Australia, or one of those places where they drive on the wrong side of the road, it may be right-hand turns. But yeah, it was left-hand turns. It was people, and not just the left-hand turn lanes, because we have crazy turn lanes here in Tucson, you know, where the people waiting left have to go after the light, but sometimes before the light. It's all crazy. And so those left-hand turns already leave things confusing, but it doesn't matter. If you're someone who's trying to make a left-hand turn, you still have to give right away. And I just think people aren't looking. They're not looking at all. All motorcycles are regulated to have a headlight on while operating on the roadway. And it still doesn't seem to matter. I know that, you know, my Tiger, I've got a modulating headlight in there now, and that has changed things for me dramatically. It really has. I've noticed almost nobody has pulled out in front of me now with that modulating light on. It just doesn't happen anymore. But I get on my Enfield, or if I ride the Bonneville, yeah, no, I'm apparently still invisible at that point. And that, you know, that can be frustrating. But here's the thing, gang, all of you out there, so many people have been injured, and so many people that I know the people that have been either killed or injured. And it, you know, with the riding group from the Arizona Motovlogger meetup, they met up several months afterwards to ride up to Salt River Canyon, which you might remember I sort of featured that in one of my videos from the Pine Top trip. It's a very twisty canyon, and one of the guys there lost his life. Now, I don't know that it was at fault of anybody else, or a target fixation, or some kind of issue with his motorbike, or what the situation was. Not a lot of people who went on that ride, who maybe even have video of it, have even talked about it out of respect for the family, and that's fine. But this takes me to my second part. Not only do you have to watch out for other drivers and watch out for other people trying to kill you, basically, but you also need to be prepared. And this is one of those things. That rider, his family has set up a GoFundMe page, and I'll link to it here. GoFundMe, that's one of those things, man, that I'm really grateful that it's out there, because there are people who have found themselves in situations that they didn't realize they were going to need the money that they needed. So, just like with this fella, and just like with one of the other guys that got ran over in an intersection making a left-hand turn. In fact, we're getting ready to head up to that intersection right now, just by happenstance of needing to go that way. But the fellow that was run over up here in this intersection, his family has a GoFundMe page too. And you're probably asking, if you've never had an unexpected death in the family, especially, you know, of a father figure or something like that, you know, not necessarily the father figure, but the breadwinner. There's a little something that happens there. There's a lag, basically. Even if you have good life insurance, even if you have motorcycle insurance, even if you had a good job and a little bit of savings in the bank, if you go down and your family was depending on you for an income, and you go down and you die, or you get, you know, you wad your bike up and you end up in the hospital for an extended stay, in a coma, God forbid, something we all might consider worse than death. Before insurance kicks in, there is a period of time where there is no income going into your families. And that can be scary because your family is going to want to grieve. Your family is going to have to deal with all of that. And in the interim, until probate settles or until your insurance dispatches a settlement, a lot of times this stuff can take months. And that's months of paying for your kids' braces. That's months of paying mortgage, buying groceries, you know, things like that that still have to happen after you die. And any kind of crash, I suppose it doesn't have to be motorcycle crash, just that's what's caught my attention. That intersection was right here. They're still staying on the intersection where that crash happened. I think in that case the motorcycle was making a left-hand turn and somebody ran the light. I mean, it was a solid red ball. The guy had a green arrow. He had the right of way, traipsing across the intersection, and someone just blew right through the light. Oh, and that was the other thing on those statistics. 2/3 of those accidents were also people who were drunk behind the wheel. So, you know, go figure, right? Bottom line, guys, I hate to be such a Debbie Downer today. I wasn't intending to be. It just kind of worked out that way. But bottom line is, guys, you know what? Take care of your family. Make sure that you're covering all the bases. You know, none of us want to go down, but you have to prepare for it. If you're someone that doesn't like to wear protective gear, you know, all right. At least make sure that the people who are depending on you are going to be taken care of, right? So if you're not going to prepare by wrapping up yourself, at least make sure that the people you're going to leave behind are prepared. You know, most of us think we're doing that with life insurance and whatnot, and I suppose eventually it'll all shake out if you have a good policy. But just imagine the hardship until that happens. You know, I'm fortunate where I'm at. There is a good support system for death in the family. There's, you know, people pass the hat around and things like that. So just make sure that you have something in place there. And watch out, man, because nobody cares about you on the road more than you should care about yourself.